The reaction of the regime, which we could forecast that. I mean, we knew that before the election, we had some news that they have talked to each other that we go for, that coup d'etat and we will kill 200 people and imprison 2,000 people. Then Iranians will sit down and everything will be suppressed. This is what they calculated. But what they didn't know about the tactics of the movement was Iranians started to, go ahead and come back, one step ahead, two steps back. At the first stage, the movement started to use the days of the regime. When I say days of the regime, are the ceremony days of regime, which, regime invites the people for governmental marches. For instance, Quds Day, the last Friday of Ramadan, to support the Palestinian against Israel. Movement used these days to come to the street to shout for the movement's slogans. After a while, these days were not safe for the people. At the first actions, the days of regime were safe because they didn't want to attack to the people, because they invited the people to come to the streets. But after 2 or 3 months, regime started to not to respect even its own days. So it was an agreement inside the movement not to go for any street protest anymore, but save their lives and mobilize the people for other types of tactics, non-cooperative tactics, not to cooperate with regime, boycotting, going for strikes, and wearing out the regime, especially the suppression machine of regime, which is Revolutionary Guard. And now we are in this stage of the movement. So I think that the impact of regime's brutality was the legitimation of regime inside Iran and in international community. And growing up a kind of hatred against regime. The poll shows, the independent researchers in Iran, that in summer 2009, about 68% of people believe that this regime should go, 64%. But right now, the last poll shows that 94% of the people say that this regime should go. A huge, a very steep slope for the graph of the growth of unpopularity of regime, the legitimation of the regime. That was the main result of 15 months of brutality of regime. And I believe that in nonviolent movements, the legitimation is very important. The most important step, like Russian dolls, the other tactics and the other strategies will come out of this most important step, I mean the legitimation of the regime. Non-cooperative tactics are boycotting the goods, not paying the taxes, not going to work, civil disobedience. There are lots of tactics in this category. But the movement on these days is, first of all, working on non-cooperative tactics, which will be based on, first, the economic crisis of the country, because as you know, the government of Ahmadinejad has created, because of the mismanagement, they have created lots of troubles in the economy of the country. A corrupted economy, many parts of the Revolutionary Guard are corrupted now. They are involved in more than 800 big companies of Iran and more than 1,500 big projects of the country. And this qualification, has created lots of corruption in Iran, a kind of economic chaos in Iran. And international sanctions, which has started, especially that part of the sanctions which is targeted to Revolutionary Guard. It has been useful for the movement to squeeze the Revolutionary Guard, to create cracks and some fissures inside Revolutionary Guard. So in this stage of movement, we are thinking about the tactics which will be based on economic crisis in Iran, and from inside Iran is targeted toward Revolutionary Guard. I think that the next move now, it's November 5th, 2010, but during not more than a month, the next stage of the movement will be started, which is going to protest of increase of some governmental goods like gasoline in Iran, because the government is going to increase the price of gasoline, increase the price of bread, electricity, gas, and several other goods. So the tactics will go toward boycotting them, to protest them, to not cooperate with the regime, and especially is targeted on the goods which are at the hands of Revolutionary Guard.